Welcome to episode 2 of Let's Make a Podcast starring Kendall, Sedan, and Colin. And today we will be doing our all-time video game review.
Well, our top 10.
Our top 10 with honorable mentions.
So, yeah, my idea for this was basically just go around, say each of our 10s, then we'll start with honorable mentions, but then say our 10s, our 9s, and work our way up to 1. So I can start with the honorable mentions, and I'll just say a little bit.
Because you have like 20.
I do have a little bit too many.
And we can talk about the games a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just say a word or something about each game, and if you guys have that on your list, just don't say anything, but we'll get to that later. So my honorable mentions were Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I just didn't think I could put it on the list, the newest one, the Switch one. I just didn't think I could put it on the list yet.
Yeah. Really good, though.
It's too soon, but yeah. It might creep on there later after hours and hours being played.
Yeah.
Nice. I put Journey on there. It's not really, I would say, it is a video game, but it's a strange experience. It's not really about the gameplay at all, so I put that on honorable mention. I put Telltale's The Walking Dead, the first season. That really stuck with me. A great story, and again, not really a traditional video game, but through that medium time storytelling, I thought it was really effective. I put the newest God of War for PS4. Once again, I think it could get on the list, but it's just too soon, and I'm not ready to put it up there yet in the top 10. And then I had to mention the NBA 2K franchise and
the whole franchise.
Just because I didn't want to pick one game. I've just been playing those games for a long time, and I had a lot of good memories with that. So those are my honorable mentions.
That's fair. So is God of War, is that what you said, God of War?
Yeah.
Okay. I really don't know God of War, but is that Kratos?
Kratos. Yeah.
So that's what Colin is going to name his firstborn child.
My first. Yeah. I'm a
boy or girl.
That's
Kratos.
the plan.
I'm gonna try. I mean, future. I hope my wife's not listening to this, or my girlfriend. I hope not.
Or Chris Brown.
Exactly, or Chris Brown.
Watch the first episode to understand these comments.
Watch or listen.
Yeah.
We have my honorable mention. I have 4 of them. In no particular order. I didn't really put them in order or anything. But one of them was Pokemon Fire Red.
Mm-hmm.
I almost put Emerald, but I decided to go with what I had always started with. I just really liked it. I mean, when I was young, I kind of almost started my love for video games. Was that game I put so much time into.
I think that's true for a lot of people our age.
Pokemon? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's so cool they're still doing stuff, so kids now can say the same thing. But
now you have a Switch, so the next one comes out. You gotta get back into it.
The one's already out, isn't it?
It's a reboot of Fire Red, kind
of. My next one was Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. That's a fighting game, and I put a lot of time. I really, really liked it. Just didn't crack my top 10. And then BioShock. That one kind of blew my mind a little bit, and I really liked the story and the idea. I think the idea was really unique.
The first BioShock?
Yeah.
Okay.
I played the second one. I really, really liked the second one, but I just didn't think it was as good as the first. And I didn't really like the third one, Infinite.
So I think that's the best one. I didn't love it. I love Infinite.
I actually debated putting Infinite on honorable mention, but I didn't. I just think it's a great story.
So you liked Infinite over that too?
I've never played the other two.
Oh, okay.
But
I think Infinite's great.
As a standalone game that I've never played the others, I like the mechanics. I like the fighting mechanics, and I really like the story of Infinite a lot. Yeah.
See, it almost doesn't seem like a BioShock game to me, and maybe that's like the first two kind of fit together, and I don't think that one is just so different.
Well, that's why I think it wasn't BioShock 3.
That's true. That's a good point. And then my last one I mentioned was Skyrim. I think you're gonna see that on a lot of lists, like everywhere else. But it's just a game I put so much time into and played so much. I loved it, but I didn't decide for my top 10.
All right, so for my honorable mentions, kind of got to go with Sedan on this. I specifically have NBA 2K13, but I've only ever owned 2 different 2K games, 2K13 and 2K16. So with that in mind, definitely got to put the 2K franchise on there. And so for other ones that I put on there, Super Mario 64, timeless classic.
So that didn't make your top 10?
Super Mario 64.
Yeah, we debated that.
I debated on it, and originally I had it in my top 10, but there's just too many other games that mean so much to me.
Yeah.
So I had to knock it down. Honorable mention. Half-Life 2. It's from Valve.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the story of Half-Life 2, and it's just a classic. Have you guys heard of a game called Cloudberry Kingdom?
I think I've heard.
I bet you have, Colin. You seem like the type of guy.
It's funny that you say because I watched your YouTube video on it
Oh,
too.
that's right. That's right.
I've heard of it, but
It's basically this game where you jump around obstacles and you try not to die, and it's just the dumbest thing, but it's just the funniest memories because it's so hard, and you can play with your friends. But anyway, those are my 4 honorable mentions.
all right.
Take us away, Sinan.
So, just before I really start with my top 10, I just wanted to kind of, the thought process would be, for me, what I thought about was really the games, not necessarily the best games I've played, but what stuck with me the most and what I would still want to go back to like right now and still keep playing. So for my number 10, it was Red Dead Redemption 2, which I know just came out, and I knocked some other games off for that, but I know that this game is going to stick with me for a long time. I think Arthur Morgan is probably one of the best protagonists in video game history, and I think it's probably going to keep climbing. I know you, Colin, you played Red Dead.
I did. You'll notice it's actually not in my top 10.
Okay.
Because I just feel like I agree with what you said with this isn't the best games I've played. It's more of what I really enjoyed and what kind of made an impact on me. Yeah. And it did. No, it was really good. I just I think there are other games that when I think of are more, I think probably more sentimental than that one.
Mm-hmm. I was very sentimental playing through it though.
It's a great story.
I think it has a great story, and it's gonna stick. I'll think about it for quite a while longer. So that's my number 10.
No, I don't think you're gonna get flagged from that anyone. Yeah. My number 10. I don't know how many people have heard of it or played it. It's Medal of Honor, European Assault. Huh. My brother and I, when we were really young, played that all the time, and it was a pretty generic, fighting army game like World War II. I don't think it's really anything special, but it was a lot of fun when we played it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I've always looked for it and tried to find it, and I can't. But it makes me sad. But that's okay. It's probably not as good now than when I played it. So
yeah, very sentimental.
Yeah.
What system is that on?
It was PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2.
Wow. So for my top 10, I would just put the whole Sims franchise because I can't remember what a single one of them was called.
I think it's just 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think
it probably it is. Actually, now that you say that,
that's cheating.
Anyway,
it's like his 2K and Madden series.
Those are honorable mentions.
Sims. I probably played Sims 2 the most. Okay. Sims 2 or 3. So I'll go with one of those. But okay. I just grew up on a lot of those, and like Roller Coaster Tycoon, just a lot of stuff on the PC because that's what my sister played the most, and so I'd play that because she would play it. But fun times of burning houses down with stoves. And The Sims is a graphic game, man.
Alright. So should I do my number 9?
Number 9.
Okay, and then just one more thing about my list is that I try to keep it to one game per franchise. I don't know if you guys did that.
I did that.
Yeah.
Well, you'll see.
Okay, that's fine. But my next game is Final Fantasy VII. I'm a huge fan of Japanese role-playing games, and I think this is probably the most iconic. So obviously you got the main character is Cloud Strife. He's in Smash. He's in a lot of popular culture stuff. And then the main villain, Sephiroth, is pretty well known too. And I think this game's actually gotten underrated over time. I know a lot of people think it's overrated. I just think people forget because there's so many spin-off games and movies about Final Fantasy VII, but I think people forget just how original and unique the original game really was. And so I think it's a really good JRPG.
I've never played any Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna get any support from us.
They're really good, and a lot of people have different favorites. I don't think 7 is the most popular. I think it's probably 6 or 4 or 9, but I think 7 is my favorite.
Interesting. My number 9. I love Call of Duty, and I've played I played almost every single one since they've came out since like World at War. But I decided that my favorite was Call of Duty Black Ops, the first one. I really liked the campaign for it, and I really liked that. I think that was one of the first like video games that ever like kind of blown my mind with like there's like some plot twists and stuff like that. And that's what really got me into first person shooters. And that's probably one of the games I play the most. And I really liked it. And that zombies mode was kind of my first taste of it. I played World at War, but I didn't play it a lot. But Black Ops is when I really got into like zombies and multiplayer and like that first person shooter campaign. I think that was the best story of the Black Ops series. So that was so much fun for me, and I loved playing that game so much.
I'm actually upset because I wish I put that on my list somewhere because I played a lot of Black Ops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about putting Call of Duty Ghosts on here and even MW3.
You're so wrong.
Ghosts.
That's a hot take.
I like the story of Ghosts, which I don't know, not everyone does, but I really like the multiplayer and the maps on Ghosts specifically, and I was really good at an LMG with a thermal hybrid scope on Call of Duty Ghosts, and it just worked on every map.
I'm sure you're on your own when you say that.
I'm sure I am.
Yeah, that's a pretty unpopular.
Yeah,
but that's cool. That's interesting.
But anyway, for my next one, it's in the Mario franchise. I grew up with Nintendo consoles, and so I grew up playing a lot of different Mario games. But I was kind of thinking, I picked this over Super Mario 64, which was in my honorable mention, because it's just so many fun memories with people, and it's Super Mario Double Dash, which is on the GameCube, and
so good.
It's just I would go so far to say that that's my favorite Mario Kart of all time. But granted, I haven't really played a lot of the new ones, but it was just so much fun, like playing 2-player Mario Kart. It was just so much fun. But
Double Dash was really good.
Double Dash is great.
I don't think I ever played it.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
that was so good.
I play a lot of GameCube.
Oh man, it's so good.
I don't even know if I have it anymore. If I had it, we could totally play it on the Wii.
Yeah. I love Mario Kart.
So good.
It's really good. Yeah.
Alright, so my number 8. I know you haven't played Fire Emblem, right, Colin?
No, I have not.
Have you played Kendall?
Nope.
Okay, so it's like a real-time strategy. So Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS is probably my favorite.
Is it like Civilization? In a way?
I don't think it's like it's not like that. It's not as complicated, I would say.
Okay.
But it's still like a pretty good game. I think the story of Fire Emblem Awakening is probably the best part of it for me, but the gameplay is also really good and executed well. But I think that's the game that really brought Fire Emblem to the mainstream in the United States.
Was Fire Emblem Awakening?
Yeah, in the U.S. at least, because it was struggling before that, and so that's like my first experience. I think that's the first one I played actually, and then I've gone back and played earlier ones. But yeah, it's a really good game, really good franchise.
Is it like turn-based combat? Like I'll smack you and then you smack me?
No, it's like if you have a board, you have units on the board, and you have to move them and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like I guess it's like StarCraft, but not as complicated as that either. So.
Sure.
I probably did a bad job explaining it, so people are gonna be mad.
Hey, that's
I don't know if
okay.
anyone's listening.
That's okay.
So. Go ahead.
My number 8, and again I went like Sadan said, I tried to do one in a series, and I love the Batman Arkham series. I even think Arkham Origins was I really liked it. I mean, all 4 of them, all the Arkham games I really liked. And I almost went with Arkham Asylum, just because that was the game that I played so much when I was younger, and it kind of formed my video game love. But I decided to go with Batman Arkham City. I just think I think the story was again really good, and there's like that. Like, I don't know if we should spoil the game. I don't know if someone could get upset. I don't think so.
It's old enough.
But I think it's old enough. So like
Snape kills Dumbledore.
So like at the end when you find out that Joker dies, I think that's like, to me, that's like the biggest plot twist in the game that I've played. Just because that's like when you think of Batman, you always think of Joker as his like number one enemy, and then in the game he dies, and you're like, there's no way he's really dead, but he is really dead. And that's what's crazy. That one like really again like blew my mind. But it was like the combat's really good, and like the story, and like being able to fly around a whole city as Batman, like fighting anyone you want. I think that's like really cool, and that was a really good game for me.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Nice.
It's really good. That story is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The whole way through.
For my number 8, it is within the Zelda franchise, and I have 2 games within my top 10 because I forgot to pick one, but they're both great. And my number 8 is A Link to the Past, which I played on the Game Boy Advance. Have you guys played A Link to the Past?
I'm not a Zelda. I don't know.
Really?
Oh, Zelda, yeah.
Okay, man.
You don't know again.
So I'm on my own. But A Link to the Past, I don't know. It was just, I thought the story was very good for it being a Game Boy game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just spent so much time on it growing up. I just played the Game Boy so much because I can remember going to stores and going to malls with my mom, and then I would always just take my Game Boy with me, and my brother and I, we would just sit down like while she was shopping the whole time, and we just play video games together on our Game Boys.
Nice.
So
Good memories.
it is good memories. So that's my number 8.
All right. My number 7 is Jak 2 from the Jak and Daxter series. I know, Kendall, you haven't played. You're more of a Nintendo guy.
Yeah, I've never even heard of
right
it.
there with me.
Absolutely.
Jak and Daxter is very different from Jak 2. And I think that's... Yep. I played Jak and Daxter when I was young, and I got Jak 2 expecting kind of the same thing. But then you open it up, and it's like Grand Theft Auto with Jak and Daxter. It's crazy. And so the first thing you do is I think you steal a car, and like you start riding around the city, and then doing crimes, and it's just it's a lot of fun, and the story is pretty good, but just like the gameplay with getting different weapons and then the platforming, it all mixes together pretty well. So it's a classic experience to me.
Think about like the leap that Naughty Dog, like the developers, took with that. So I feel like that's like such a risk.
Yeah.
With like the game they established success with, then change it to that. I feel like that's like such a big like, I don't know if we're gonna have the same like group enjoy it.
And Jak doesn't talk at all in the first one.
Yeah, he talks the whole time.
It's really fun.
That was you're right. That's such a good game. My number 7. Again, this is another. I think it's a little more obscure. I'm not sure if you guys have played it. It's called Army of Two: The 40th Day. And again, that one kind of. Have you played it?
No.
Oh, okay, so that one's kind of more of a. It's a little bit more of a co-op game.
Okay.
It's really just basically there's 2 kind of mercenaries and then like some big stuff happens and you have to like obviously save everybody. It's kind of what video games are. But that one was a lot of fun because again there's like 2 main characters that you have to be. And again, I had an older brother. We played video games a lot. That's how we kind of bonded and got together. So him being one and me being the other, like kind of fighting together, like fighting an army, was so much fun again. And that one, again, I still play every once in a while, not often. But again, I'm a big story guy. Had a pretty good story. It was a shooter. Really loved it. And there was some online that I like to play too. So that was probably one of my first earlier online games I played. Loved it.
Nice. For my number 7, I picked a game that I would probably guess you guys haven't played, and it's called Kirby Magic Mirrors, which is also...
I have not. I've never played it.
And it's also on the Game Boy. Yet again, like I was saying, I just went around playing the Game Boy in stores, basically everywhere I went. And it's an interesting story. Have you guys played Kirby games at all?
Mm-hmm.
You're basically trying to restore, I think it's called the Dreamland or something, and I can't remember any of the characters' names, but they break this mirror, and you have to go to these different worlds to get the different pieces of the mirror and put it back together so you can fight the boss. And it's kind of a simple and silly game, but I just played it so much in my childhood because I like the fighting mechanics, and you could, suck people in and like turn into their characters, and it was just so fun.
Right, okay. So my number 6 is Skyrim. So for me, I mean, this game is like, I put in 100, probably 120 hours, and that's probably like on the low end for some people. I'm sure some people have about 300 hours in it. But I think this is the pinnacle of the Elder Scrolls series, and it's probably the most immersive game I've ever played.
So you're saying that Elder Scrolls Online is not the best?
I haven't played much of that, but I don't think it's really up there.
It's not.
Yeah.
It was a joke. I have the game. It's not.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah. So Skyrim, just doing all the guilds, like the Warriors Guild, the Mages Guild, and the Dark Brotherhood. Of course, you gotta go through that. I think I had really good quest lines for each of those, and then it's just. You could just do anything in that game. Just walk around and you'll find something interesting happening. And I think that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It was on my honorable mention. It's really good.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have as much sentimental value. It would have been, like, if it was, like, one of the best, like, best game list, I would be up there. But, no, really good. Number 6, I decided to go with Mass Effect 2. I love the Mass Effect series, and I decided to go with 2. Again, I'm a pretty big story-driven guy. I just think the story for number 2 was just so good. And fun. Like if you've played it, you know there's so many different characters. I think Shadon's played it.
Yeah.
Kevin, have you ever played Mass Effect?
Spoilers.
Yeah.
It's my number 4.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
So it's like there's so many characters and like figuring out how well-rounded they are and finding out their like motivations is just so much fun and so like figuring out what makes everyone tick and how your team kind of comes together, and then the ending is so good. Love the game.
Yeah. That's great franchise.
It is a great franchise. We're on 6, right?
Yep.
Okay. My number 6 is Halo 3, but I would almost go so far to say that I probably have never even beaten the campaign.
Oh, really?
And I've probably beaten at least half of it on the, is it Legendary? Is that the hardest difficulty? Whatever the hardest difficulty is. But the thing that I did the most on Halo 3, I would have never gotten the game, but it was a free game for gold on the Xbox for a month. And so some of my older friends or friends that had the console before me, the Xbox, they already had it. So it was like, dude, let's get it and we can play together. And they pwned me at it at first for quite a while, but we would just play Juggernaut, and we would go to all the different maps, and we would just play co-op, custom games, like, I don't know, basically gun game and stuff like on the Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think of my whole list, this one is probably the most obscure one that probably doesn't fit in with the rest of the games that I like to play.
Yeah.
But it's just because there's so much sentimental value to playing with people for so long, because I wouldn't have probably played it had other people not played with me.
But I think a lot of people would have that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we're not really, any of us aren't really Microsoft guys. So.
Right. So it's a good thing I'm pulling the weight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Number 5 for me is Pokemon Emerald.
Nice.
You were talking about Fire Red earlier, but
nice.
I feel like I'm just talking about all your games already before we
Yeah.
get to them.
Yep.
For me it's Emerald just because I think Gen 3 might be my favorite generation of Pokemon. And that game, there's just so much to do. And the story in Pokemon doesn't matter, but at that age, I was so invested and so into stopping Team Aqua and Team Magma. So, yeah, they're just really good games. I think like a lot of people start with Pokemon as their first games and then grow to love even more stuff. So it's a really good entry point.
If you could guess, how many hours would you say that you have spent in the Pokemon franchise total?
Total? Oh, man. It has to be over 300, I would say.
Yeah.
Because Fire Red I must have played multiple times. Emerald I played multiple times. And that's like 20 to 30 hours each time.
Yep.
And then I played Diamond and Pearl. Well, I played Pearl. And then I played Black and White. That was the last one I really got into.
Yeah, put one to me. That was really good. My number 5 is Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. It's a pretty old PlayStation 2 game, but man, it was so much fun, and it was so like the guns were so different, so unique, and so interesting, and it was a lot of fun to be able to run around with like a blaster or like a bomb gun or like I think it was like a sheep raid, like turning people into sheep. So like it's just like such an interesting idea and so many different guns, but I loved it so much. It was so much fun.
Nice.
Did you play Up Your Arsenal?
I did not.
Okay, so I preferred that game over Going Commando. But but I like both of them.
I only played the first one and the second one.
Up Your Arsenal was close to being on my list, I would say. I like that game a lot.
Nice. I enjoy hearing about the PlayStation side of things because I never grew up playing Ratchet and Clank, and so that's fun to hear. For my number 5, I have Terraria. Have you guys played Terraria?
Yeah, I have.
I've never played. I've heard of it though.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So it's kind of like two-dimensional Minecraft with a story. Is kind of what I would say. Like, it kind of has a story, but it kind of doesn't. They have different bosses that you can go and fight, and there's armor that you can find, treasure that you can find, and it's very, very interactive, and there's a lot of things that you can do. You can build homes, but anyway, my biggest memory with Terraria was I must have been in some sort of leaderboard, and some random little kid messaged me on Xbox Live, and so my friends and I thought it'd be funny if we kept talking to him, and if we let him join our Xbox parties and play Terraria with us. And so come to figure out, he had someone who was modding the game for him, and so he gave us literally the best armor and the best gear in the game, and saved us hours of work. And it was so funny. And then he became a friend. It was just funny. Yeah. So that was my number 5. What's your number 4?
So like I said, it's Mass Effect 2.
That's right.
Colin talked about it a little bit, but I think, exactly what he said. The characters in that game, like Garrus, Miranda, Thane, they're all
Rex.
they're all just so interesting. Jacob, he's a really cool guy. Morden, he's really funny. But that's the game where each character that is like in your party, I was fully invested in. So I think that was really cool. But you already talked about it.
Who was your romance option when you would play?
I think Miranda.
Always.
Yeah.
My brother always did Liara, and I never understood it.
No,
she's an alien.
Yeah.
My number 4, and Sedan touched on it a little bit earlier, was Jack. But I chose Jack 3 instead of Jack 2. And the reason was it all just kind of comes to a crescendo, and you figure out the story, you figure out his history and who Jack is and why he's so important. And there's also 12 guns. So there's 3 attachments for each color, which is really cool to be able to switch your guns. And I also didn't choose Jack 2 because of the mission where you go into the slums and you pick up that piece and you just get bombarded with the police. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's you're on the water, you're on top of the water, and you grab a piece of the Seal of Mar, and you're running back, and then there's just cars and cars. Yeah, it sucks. It's so hard. So I hate that mission so much. Every time I play it, I want to skip it, but I don't. So that's why I decided to pick Jack 3 because that mission sucks so much.
I love Jack 3 too. I just think for me, it's the story in Jack 2 is a little bit better, more cohesive. But Jack 3 is great. The weapons especially are good. They're really good. Jack 3 has aliens, right? It gets weird, but it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Are the Jack games PlayStation?
Yeah.
PlayStation 2.
Yep. So they're kind of like GTA in a way.
The second 2 more so than the first.
The first one is Crash Bandicoot kind of.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Colin's mad because he wished he put...
I forgot about Crash Bandicoot.
Where would you put Crash Bandicoot now?
I don't know. I'd have to read. At least honorable mention for sure.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I forgot Crash Bandicoot. It sucks.
Well, the way you talk about Jack, it kind of makes me think of Saints Row. And that might only be an Xbox franchise. It is? Okay. But Saints Row is just kind of a goofier version of Grand Theft Auto. And I always liked it more than the Grand Theft Auto franchise. Mm-hmm. But that's what you make me think of. For my number 4, because that's where we're at.
Yep.
I like all the Pokemon games, but the one that I had to choose for this would be Pokemon Black.
Okay.
I just like the Unova region. I would always go with the Oshawott. And my favorite Pokemon, which is Victini, comes from that region. I got the game pre-ordered or something, so I was able to get the special Pokemon, but I just think the Pokemon from that region just really were the climax of the franchise. And then it just kind of... it's been kind of weird. They've been in a weird swing, and I hope they're coming back up. But we'll see.
Yeah, I played a lot of Pokemon Black. I think I was like in middle school, and so I had 3 or 4 friends who also got the game, and we just linked up and played.
Oh yeah, linked up, traded. And
well, it was cool because
battled.
did you have black or white?
I had black.
Well, I had black as well. And the cool part was it really incentivized you to try and get with your friends because you could build the city. You know what I'm talking about? Like in Black City.
Yeah.
And then there was White Forest. And it was the weirdest thing because like the forest would grow the more people that went into it. That like went into it over Wi-Fi and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was a strange concept, but it was really neat.
And I remember that one specifically because I picked Oshawott, so I got a Samurott, but somehow I got like a random trade. I think they had like the mystery trades.
Right.
So I traded back like probably something that was worthless and got a Snivy. So I got 2 of the starters, and I was like, oh man, this is the best thing ever. And I was really excited.
Nice.
Number 3, you ready?
Yeah. So these are the big boys.
Final 3.
This is the top 3. This was so hard for me.
So for this one, I think this might be like the best actual game on my list. But personally, for me, this is number 3, and that's The Last of Us. This story. Have you played that game?
Never played. I really
PlayStation exclusive. Yeah.
Colin, you've played it.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
And obviously, Last of Us 2 is coming out soon, but for me, The Last of Us, the story is just. It's up there with some of the best works of like in novels and movies, as far as the scope and what it's trying to say about a post-apocalyptic world, and obviously the relationship Joel and Ellie have and their journey that they go through, and the ending, which is really controversial. But just like it's hard to watch, really.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a good ending, and it ends it sort of on a hopeful note, but also as bleak as possible, which is weird to say, but it's really true.
I knew I was really gonna like that game. Like in the very beginning, you're like running from like the people, and like his daughter dies like right in the beginning. That was so good.
Yeah.
That I knew that it was like gonna rip my heart out. That's what I knew it was gonna be really good.
Yeah. That's a great game.
It's really good. I didn't even put it on my list. I need to play it again because I forgot some pieces of it, but it is really good. I remember really liking it.
I'll never forget like when you're with the 2, the guy and his brother. Like the guy gets bitten, I think, so he turns into a zombie, and then they shoot the little kid brother. I mean, and then the guy just like is about to shoot Joel, but he just turns it on himself. Yeah. That stuck with me for a long time.
So good.
Yeah.
My number 3 and my top 3 were really close, so it was really hard for me to pick just one, or like to rank them all, I guess. My number 3 is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Okay. Because it was so, to me that's the best Star Wars game I've ever played. I played a lot, but that one was to me was so much fun, and being able to go like onto every setting, every planet in the story, and you can be the Republic, you can be the Empire, you can be the Rebels. Oh, it's just so good. And then there's one game where you can be the heroes. So it's like you can be like Luke Skywalker and go fight like General Grievous or anybody. It was so cool. Oh, one of my favorite games ever. It was so good.
Dude, that's awesome. Was Battlefront 2 the one that had really mixed reviews?
I don't think so.
What was really? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think you're thinking about the newest Battlefront.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
That just came out. I think you're talking about the PS2.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry.
Battlefront 2 that just came out did have mixed reviews.
I hate Battlefront 2. The new one.
Awesome.
The old one. Oh, so good.
The new one has really changed. Like, got a lot of updates. I think people are liking it now. If they start.
I hope so.
Sweet. I've actually never given it a spin.
You have it on your Steam account.
Which Battlefront is it that I have?
Battlefront 2.
Oh!
We have such different tastes in games, Kendall.
Yeah, I do have Battlefront 2. So a funny story about that, I had a friend give it to me. He like bought it and gifted it off of Steam. And it was because we're not going to do anything in high school. And so he was like, hey, good, no, I'm going to buy this. And so we're going to play multiplayer all day during class. And so our connection at the school is too bad to do it. But it was a good game.
So good.
I forgot about it, yeah. For my number 3, just to preface, I really like simulation games and building games and just sandbox games. And so it's the game that I was actually playing today. So Cities Skylines. It's hard for me to beat out SimCity because it's just such a good franchise. but I would probably say that City Skylines has surpassed anything that SimCity has ever done. But I would definitely say, like, if I have City Skylines on here, I wouldn't have SimCity on here, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, it's just a fun simulation, build skyscrapers, and I don't know, hopefully build a good city. What do you got for 2, Sedan?
Number 2.
So this
Number
game,
2.
this might be the game I have the most personal connection with, and it's Persona 4 Golden for the PS Vita. You guys probably never.
The PS Vita.
Yeah, it's a great system. It's an underrated system. It's sold like terribly, but it's really good. You
Yeah,
guys
so
never,
good that it's
you guys
sold out.
never played a Persona, right?
Nope.
No. Okay. Well, this one I think is special to me because the premise of the games are you're a high schooler, and you basically like supernatural stuff start going down, and you gotta combat it, you gotta fight it. But it's a JRPG again. But the reason it's so special to me is because I started playing the game when I moved in the middle of high school. So I was moving from Arizona to Illinois, and I didn't know anyone. And so it was a game taking place in high school. So like I would just go to class and like not talk to anyone, not do anything, then come back home, play my Vita, like be in high school. And so like those like the characters in the game were like my friends. That's it.
Wow.
So for that time, yeah, it was really special to me, and it helped me get through that. But yeah, it's a really good game.
Yeah, I've never played Persona. I know you like Persona 5. I know
But
our roommate
4
is
is
too.
the best one.
Okay. My number 2 is Fallout New Vegas. I really love the Fallout series. I really like open world games. And so that one, being able to go anywhere you want in the world and fight anything, and the story again, I really like story. I think the story is amazing. But it was just so big and so fun, so good. That's my favorite Fallout game, and I really like Fallout 4, but New Vegas was just something special. Yeah, I don't know. It was so fun, so good.
Nice. What do you think of Fallout 3?
I really, really like Fallout 3, but I think that's my next favorite Fallout.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, but Fallout New Vegas is still my favorite.
I gotcha. So for my number 2, this is where I broke the rules, and I have another Zelda game, and it is Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Which I am sad to hear that you guys have not
Never
played.
played
it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people I see a lot of people who write about video games would have this as like their number one. Whereas it wasn't special to me.
It's definitely a very unique game, and honestly, it's kind of difficult. You don't know what to do all the time, because normally you can kind of figure things out in the Zelda games, but it's kind of it was kind of the first open world Zelda game, and it was really a trailblazer in the open world industry as far as all the other games go. And I think aspects of the story they did pretty well. Other aspects were kind of confusing, but they have like the hardest bosses. And they always talk about the water temple. It's all you need to know, Colin, because the water temple is so annoying, and you always have to look for a guide because you can't figure out where the switches are to raise the water and lower it. Do you remember that, Sadon?
Yeah, I do.
It takes forever, and it's so much longer than it needs to be. But it's a great game. I love the fighting mechanics. The music in the game is beautiful, and just the story in general, and like the bosses is just so good. So
Nice.
What are we on?
Number 1.
I love hearing about video games. I think it's so much fun.
All right.
Like hearing anyone else
So
talk to
my
them.
number 1 is Kingdom Hearts 2. Have either of you guys played a Kingdom
I
Hearts?
never have.
Okay,
That's what you're playing right now, right?
I'm playing a Kingdom Hearts game. It's Birth by Sleep, so it's a different one.
Oh, okay.
But Kingdom Hearts 2, I think, is the best game in the series until Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out next week. But basically, it's Final Fantasy mixed with Disney.
Huh.
So 2 things I love the most, and I played this growing up, and it's always been special to me. I played every game in the series, and it's just an action RPG mixed with action RPG that takes place in Disney World. So you go through and like each Disney movie's like story, and you like change events a little bit, and then it's just cool. Like you're going through these worlds with Donald and Goofy. It's so funny to see, but it all works somehow. So
Would you say that it's goofy?
Oh, boo.
Ba-dum-bum.
Boo. Let's move on from that.
Save us.
My number one, and I know Sadan's not gonna be surprised by it. I think he's just playing it. The Witcher 3 is my favorite game of all time, and I know it's.
Wow.
I feel. I don't want to say bad, but like I know it's like such a common like favorite game, like best game, whatever. But I love, again, like I said, I love open world games. I love stories. It has a really good story, and what I really liked about it was like. Honestly, how kind of difficult it was to get into it because there's so much going on with it, and there's like so many things to think about and consider, and like mechanics that you need to learn and kind of jump in to do. And it gives you some guidance, but not a lot. And I really like that they just kind of throw you in and say go. And I think that's so much fun to figure out, and like the world's really interesting and the idea is really interesting, and I love that game so much. My favorite game.
Cool. I've actually never played it.
Dude, it's not so good.
Too bad it sucks.
Oh, it doesn't.
It's the best.
That's a really good game.
Best.
It's a great game.
Yep. Well, for my number one, I feel like this will kind of have mixed opinions. It's very near and dear to my heart. A lot of sentimental value, a lot of memories with friends. My number one is Minecraft. Yeah, and neither of you guys mentioned
I've played
Minecraft.
Some.
Yeah,
but I know,
really?
Yeah, not a lot.
I've played some, I just
Really?
didn't get deep into it.
Well,
but
see,
I feel like that could be a type of Pokemon for a new
yeah,
generation.
I absolutely agree. And we played hours. This Pokemon franchise probably has like the most hours that I've ever amassed on something. But Minecraft, from a standalone game standpoint, probably has the most time that I've ever put into something. And we, like creative mode, we would build cities, literal cities, and survival, we would just go crazy and build communities. It's just so much fun with friends. And that's really what makes the game. But anyway, that's our top 10. And with honorable mentions, we talked a little bit over 40 different games were hit. Probably a little bit of crossover, but
yeah,
that's quite a bit of games to cover. And so I think, what do you guys think? Probably we hit a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think hopefully this will give them more information about our video game tastes to all our listeners.
Hopefully so. Chris Brown. So anyway, we made it to episode 2.
Yep.
Episode 2, it actually happened. Yep. Okay, so this was episode...
You guys were asking for it, so we decided to do it.
Our fans had to have it. So this was episode 2 of Let's Have a Podcast.
Let's make a podcast.
That's what it's called now.
Wrote it down.
Thanks for listening.